guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you an unboxing plus on-feet video of the Puma evoPOWER 1 in the launch color, which is of course fluorescent peach, ombre blue, and fluorescent yellow. Now inside the box, all you get are the shoes themselves. They do not come with any extras. So give me a second to take these out of the box. And if you guys could also take a second to leave a like on the video, it would be greatly appreciated. So here is a look at the launch color for the evoPOWER 1. For those of you guys that follow my videos a little bit more closely, you may have seen my unboxing of the evoPOWER 1 camo that I did about a week ago. If you missed that, I will leave an annotation on screen. But as far as what the evoPOWER 1 will look like from this point on, these are the graphics that will be featured on all future colorways. So you can see that you have your Puma branding on either side of the shoe. Personally, I really like the graphics on this particular boot. I know some people have mixed feelings, mainly about the boot looking a little bit cheap, and I tend to agree with them to a certain extent that it definitely doesn't look all that premium, but looks can be deceiving. I think that in person, the overall feel of the materials, especially considering that it is a fairly shiny synthetic, it feels really soft. It does feel premium. It fits extremely well. And like I said, looks can be deceiving. So leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of the overall visuals of the new evoPOWER 1. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why or why not? As far as colors go, you're going to find that fluorescent peach as the base for the shoe itself. In a well-lit environment like I'm in right now, it definitely appears to be a slightly orangey color. Whereas if you're in slightly darker environments, it definitely will come across as a little bit more red. You're going to find your navy blue or ombre blue accents throughout the shoe, as you guys can see. And then your main very vibrant accent color is this fluorescent yellow, which is mainly found in the external EverFit cage here on the inside of the boot. But other than that, I personally like the graphics, and I actually like this colorway quite a bit. Leave a comment though, let me know what you guys think. As far as tech specs go, the evoPOWER 1 has a very interesting story and a very interesting concept. It is, at the end of the day, still categorized as a power boot, which really doesn't mean all that much. I would categorize it as a boot that is designed around striking the ball, and it has an interesting story to go along with that. It will, of course, replace the PowerCat series, and basically what Puma did to design the evoPOWER 1 is that they've had a study, and they basically came to the conclusion that you can strike the ball harder when barefoot, mainly due to the extra flexibility that would normally be restricted when you are wearing a pair of soccer shoes. With that being said, they also noticed that you strike the ball less accurately when you're barefoot as opposed to wearing a pair of soccer shoes. So they basically wanted to combine the power that you would get from having that extra flexibility in your foot, as well as the extra padding that is required to have a more accurate shot that you would normally get from a soccer shoe. So what they came up with is, of course, the evoPOWER 1. Now what's unique about this particular shoe is that it is a 100% synthetic upper, which is fairly unusual for the PowerCat line. Of course, we did have synthetic PowerCats available, but there will be no leather upper variation, at least as far as we know. I'm not sure if something is planned down the road, but as of right now, there is only a synthetic version of the evoPOWER, but it's a very unique synthetic. You can see it's called Adaplite. And basically it's a one-way stretch material. It stretches vertically, and this is mainly so the forefoot area of the shoe can flex backwards, similarly to what your foot would do when striking a ball. Your toes curl in, and of course you're getting that flex from your foot and striking it right here on that main bone at the top of your foot. So that is why it is a one-way stretch material. So it's going to stretch this way, but it's not going to stretch laterally. So it should still provide that nice lateral support for when you're making hard cuts and turns. Now you can see that it is relatively thin, but at the same time, it has a nice kind of natural softness about it. I don't want to say that it's leather-like, but it definitely has a nice plush feel to the touch. And it isn't overly thin. It's thin, but there's still a little bit of natural padding about it, which is something that I'm personally a really big fan of. Now moving on to this forefoot and strike zone area, you're going to find what Puma calls AccuFoam, which is basically these little embedded pieces of foam. They're all over the forefoot, as you guys can see, and run all the way through the striking zone. And again, this kind of goes with that concept that having a little bit of extra padding to your shot is going to make for a more accurate strike on the ball. So basically, no matter what part of the foot you're using to strike the ball, you're going to get that kind of softness of the foam, and it's a fairly unusual foam. I was expecting something like what we saw from the Nike CTR 360 Maestri 1 and 2, where they had those memory foam pads on the outside of the boot. This is much softer, much spongier feeling to the touch, and it definitely does provide a very unique feel on the ball when both kind of controlling as well as shooting. And again, I really want to test this out more before I kind of draw any final conclusions as far as whether or not I like it, but I definitely can tell you that it's very unique, and as of right now, there's really nothing on the market that truly does compare. You have an off-center lacing system, as you guys can see, and what I didn't mention in the camo video is that you have these two nice foam material pieces on the tongue, right at the top and then right at the base of the foot, and they really do their job as far as cutting off any kind of lace bite, and they're really well positioned. You guys will notice it a little bit more when I actually put the shoes on feet later in the video. You're also going to find an external evoFit cage here on the outside, closer to the ankle area, and then of course on the inside a much larger evoFit cage that is of course external as opposed to internal like it is on the evoSpeed series from Puma. Again, this is just to add a little bit of extra support to the upper, create that nice lateral stiffness to keep your foot locked in place. It's a fairly low cut in the heel, as you can see, and there's actually a little cutout area right here. There's really no material, so it's nice and flexible. Again, flowing with the theme of being as flexible as possible, which is what the evoPOWER 1 is designed around. You're going to find a textured synthetic leather material in the heel, plenty of padding there, so again, comfort should not be an issue. The insole is of course fully removable. Give me 1 second to get it out there. You can see that it features a mesh layer on top, your evoPOWER branding right there. It's one single layer of black foam that on its own has a decent thickness to it. But you're also going to find an extra layer of perforated foam running through the entire forefoot as well as right under the heel. So plenty of extra padding here. And pretty much when you step in this shoe, you're going to feel a nice underfoot cushioning. You're also going to notice the shape of the insole is more of that anatomical fit that Puma likes to do with their shoes. That is present with the evoPOWER 1, and it does affect the sizing a little bit, but of course we'll talk about that later in the video. Moving on to the sole plate, you have a P-Bax material making up the entire sole plate. This makes for plenty of flexibility in the forefoot. One thing that is notable is that the sole plate is very, very thin, as you guys can see, which is of course part of the reason why the shoe is so flexible, mainly in the forefoot. Through the midfoot, you're going to find the GSF system, which is the gradual stability frame, which essentially means that the shoe gets stiffer and stiffer towards the middle and softer towards the forefoot. Again, kind of playing into the whole natural flexibility of the foot theme. As far as the stud pattern goes, it is unique again to the evoPOWER 1, completely brand new design. You're going to have your 4-bladed studs in the heel, which is fairly standard, 3-bladed studs in the forefoot, and then 4 fairly narrow conical shaped studs right at the tip of the toe, so you're going to get a nice firm grip when pushing off from these conical studs. They're going to release really, really well. But when you are making those hard lateral cuts, you're going to get that nice plant from these bladed studs towards the outside of the forefoot. And again, I'm really kind of hoping that the traction is going to be really good, because from a design standpoint, I really like this particular layout. It's stable, but you're still going to get plenty of push-off grip from these conical studs right at the tip of the toe. But that's pretty much it as far as all of the tech specs go. And move on next to a quick weigh-in so you can see how lightweight these guys are. While the evoPOWER 1 is technically labeled as a power boot, it shares a lot of elements to that of a speed boot, in that you have a thin synthetic upper that's trying to offer a barefoot feel, a very flexible sole plate, which obviously would make for a relatively lightweight construction, which is exactly what you get with the evoPOWER 1. Like I mentioned, it's just a very unique shoe overall. So I'm going to weigh this pair for you today in real time. Keep in mind that this is a brand new pair in a size 9.5 US. We're going to throw it on the scale, and you can see that these guys weigh in at 7.4 ounces. So again, very, very lightweight, much lighter than you might expect from something that, like I said, is listed as a power boot. But nonetheless, this is one of those shoes that certainly is not going to weigh you down if that was a concern for you. With that being said, let's move on to quick on feet so you can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit and what the sizing is like. Alright, here's a look at the evoPOWER 1s on feet, and I have to say I'm really impressed and really happy with how these shoes feel. They are extremely comfortable from right out of the box. This material is super flexible, very, very soft, and just has a nice natural, almost leather-like feel about it. Definitely isn't going to require too much in the way of break-in time. With that being said, I'm not sure if this is one of those synthetics that's going to maintain its shape or if it's going to stretch. It's kind of difficult to say without having worn the shoes, but of course I will let you know more about that in the full written review. Now, as far as the overall fit of the shoe goes, it's not a wide shoe, it's not a narrow shoe, it's kind of right in the middle there, so it should be suitable for most foot types, just as long as you don't have excessively wide feet. I have about average width feet. I'm also slightly flat-footed, and I have no issues fitting into this shoe whatsoever, and there definitely is room for a slightly wider foot as well. In terms of sizing, these definitely do run half a size small. those of you guys that watch my videos consistently, you know that I very often wear a size 9 US, and I like my shoes to fit pretty tight. This is a 9.5 US, and you can see my toes are right at the end. There is no extra space in this shoe whatsoever. So again, if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going half a size up for the proper fit. Alright guys, that's it for my unboxing of the Puma evoPOWER 1. I have to say that just based on first impressions, I'm really impressed with this particular shoe from Puma. I have to applaud the brand for going in the direction with a pair of soccer shoes or with a pair of power boots that nobody's ever really done before. It's got unique ideas. The flexible sole plate is very interesting. I think this new synthetic material is really good. It's extremely soft and comfortable from right out of the box, and I'm curious to see how it is going to perform. The AccuFoam pads are again a very unique concept, have a very interesting feel but in a good way, and I can't wait to test these out a little bit more. And of course the stud pattern to me is also something that looks very good, and the flexible sole plate, again, I kind of can't make too many judgments on it without having used it. But again, look out for my full written review hopefully in the next month or so. Once I've gotten some good time in these shoes, I will let you know what I think of them. If you guys are interested in more information on the Puma evoPOWER at this point in time, such as high quality images or where to buy them for the best prices online, be sure to check out the review page on my website, linked down below in the description of this video. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.